Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Friday the 4th of February 2022. In today's Millwall news, because we don't have a game tomorrow, I don't know if you're unaware, we are not playing QPR tomorrow because they are in the FA Cup 4th round and we are not. So they are playing in the FA Cup and we are playing nobody. We've got Saturday off, so if you didn't know that, you do now. So we don't have a game, so the pre-game stories are not there. So there's a lot of interesting stories coming around being written up about Millwall, and we're going to get into one now. So this is from Richard Corley at the South London Press on londonnewsonline.co.uk, and talking about looking ahead to the future, what we all know is going to happen. Millwall facing a major squad overhaul in the summer transfer window. Millwall are set for arguably their biggest squad rebuild since they regained championship status, with the lack of permanent transfers in the January window only increasing the summer workload. The Lions moved on the fringe players Ben Thompson, Matt Smith and Jon Dalibod Varson last month on free transfers, and only added Luke Freeman and Oliver Burke on loan from Sheffield United. Millwall manager Gary Rowetts talked about adding younger players into his squad for the second half of the campaign, but saw bids for the likes of Derby's Louis Sibley, Fortuna Sittard's Zion Fleming and FC Utrecht's Bart Ramselaar rejected. It means the spotlight will firmly be on the South London outfit's recruitment drive at the end of the season. It seems a formality that Jed Wallace, the subject of two bids from Nottingham Forest, will move on. Winger Conor Mahoney is not expected to be offered fresh terms. Midfielder Maikel Kieftenbeld, 31, and Alex Pearce, 33, are also due to be free agents. Benicophobe, Shea Yojo, Burke, Freeman will also no longer be on the Den payroll. They missed a player there. Did you see him? Ballard as well. The first thing is that the summer is a long way away, but we recognise there is probably going to be a little bit of change in the summer, said Rowett. That was why we really wanted to try and go down a different route this window. We knew if we weren't able to do that, there is a massive summer ahead. It's not always easy to go and sign 6 or 7 players. It's a lot easier to sign 2 or 3. It's also something we need to sit down and work out exactly how we do that. We spent 2 transfer fees in 4 difficult windows. I appreciate we've had COVID. John Berylson has certainly backed us in terms of trying to strengthen the team and the budget, but we also need to look a little bit longer term. That is going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm sure once we get a few more games out of the way, then we'll look forward to that. But it's quite difficult when you finish one window and then immediately look at the next one. It takes a little bit of working out. Our priority is to get the best out of the squad. If we get all the players back fit and available, then we look an awful lot stronger in the next few weeks. The summer is going to be a big amount of work to do. We're a club that's always going to have to utilise the loan market, but we're also a club that wants to try and progressively bring through young players. That's something we've seen this year. It's been a real positive. As well as the moves that the Lions made, which did creep into the public domain, there were also ones that stayed under the media radar. We inquired about a League One player who we really liked, and allegedly a club bid around 1.5 million. I believe that, and it was turned down, said Rao. I think that may have been for an AFC Wimbledon player. There were some rumours about an AFC Wimbledon player. Can't remember the guy's name, but I'm pretty sure it was for an AFC Wimbledon player. We bid for a player in our division on loan from a Premier League club. Again, we couldn't get there financially. It's certainly not easy. It's well documented. We bid for a player in the European market who's 23. The club wanted €3 million. So that's obviously Zion Fleming. So he said, what did they say they bid? They bid like 1.2 or something, yeah? 1.2 million pounds, and they were that. So Fortuna Sittard wanted €3 million. And we bid for a player in our division on loan from a Premier League club. And again, we couldn't quite get there financially. Now that's interesting because it sounds like they're talking about a player at another club. But could they be talking about Danny Ballard? Now he's injured, so that will probably fit the bill of players Millwall would sign, an injured player. But when in the story above they don't mention it. So we got 5 players on loan, and he only mentions 4 of them. He doesn't mention Danny Ballard. Here, I don't know. Where is it? Here. So he's saying these loan players will be going back. doesn't mention Danny Ballard. So that could have been a situation, because I imagine Arsenal would probably want to try and keep him or get a bit more money for him. But when you read that sentence, the way that's put out, this sentence here sounds like it's a player at another Championship club. But it could be Danny Ballard. Let's be fair. That's kind of what you want. You want, if a loan player comes in and does well, you want to sign them. Now that's happened in the past, hasn't it? With Gary right here, Ryan Woods, Biakowski, but I think that was a bit different because there were some injury concerns, and then we were and then we had to do the deal late, so we said, oh, we'll loan until Christmas, and then they made it the permanent transfer as part of the loan deal, so it's conditional. But Mason Bennett was on loan before we signed him. Scott Malone was on loan before we signed him. So that could be Danny Ballard they've tried to sign there, which would be a very good bit of business. Even if we had to give away, it would be a stupid deal to do, but even if we said like 90% sell-on fee to Arsenal, it's normally like not that high. It's normally like 40%, 30%. But even if we said 90%, so he can come in, do a job for us, play for us, and if he does get sold on later for a Premier League team or someone else higher up, even if we don't get most of the money, at least he would have done a job for us and got us in a good position. But there you go. There's no easy way to get these players. If we had inquiries for Danny McNamara and Billy Mitchell, we wouldn't entertain those bids at those sort of levels. It's quite difficult to get those kinds of players without investing big amounts of money in them, or you get them before they are performing well, which is difficult when you're trying to achieve something in a Championship. We're not just trying to stay in the division or be an okay League One side, we're trying to get out of the Championship. When you put all that in the mix, it's very, very difficult to bring those players in. It's my job as a player of Millwall Football Club to sell to the board, how do we change that? How do we do that a little bit better and adjust our model a tiny bit? I think it's going to need a slightly different approach to transfer windows, but we have to get some exciting youngsters coming through. Maybe that's the easiest way of getting him into our first team. We're trying to compete at the top end of the Championship. It's got to be the right balance. We set out in a window with the right intention and right desire to try and change things, but it's not as simple as that. January is not an easy window. It's also not easy to try and bring those type of players in. Okay. There you go. And here's the thing, if this is handled well and we get a bit of luck, this could be very transformative for us. If it doesn't go that well, it could be absolutely disastrous. Do you remember Nigel Spackman signing all those players at the same time? And that was an absolute complete disaster, to be honest with you. It's very hard to bring so many players in at the same time and get them to do well and get them to gel. Yeah, but it seems we could be doing that. Not only that, we've had a decent loan system so far. The players we've loaned in seem to be all right. In terms of comparing them to past players that we've loaned in and didn't really do it. But yeah, Danny Ballard, excellent loan signing. Benicophobe's done pretty well so far. Could be doing better, but pretty well so far. So are we going to get as lucky next season as well with loans? And maybe that does help us, because if clubs can see players doing well on loan here, they might be a bit more happy for their players to come on loan. But when you compare that to the previous season, Troy Parrott and the geezer from West Brom, I forgot his fucking name now. I know he was shit. The striker. I can't even remember his name. That's how badly he played up front for us. Well, he didn't play up front because he got an injury. So you can see, last season our loans were shit. This season, they're alright. Next season, is it a progression or is it a pattern? Will it go shit season, good season, shit season, good season? Or will it just keep getting better? Hopefully it keeps getting better. We're allowed to play 5 lone players in the team. So that could be very helpful next season. But yeah, a lot of work to do. A complete turnaround for Millwall Football Club and the team that gets put out on the pitch. So, as you said there, and you can see in the picture there, Maikel Kieftenbeld. Well, let's move on to that. They haven't been speaking to him about a new contract, which is weird. So Mill midfielder in dark over contract situation, but he outlines main focus until end of season. This is from newszealand.co.uk. Maikel Kieftenbeld is not thinking about his contract situation, as his main focus is on keeping his place in the team. Kieftenbeld, 31, is one of a number of Lions players in the last 6 months of his deal. The combative midfielder joined for Birmingham City in January 2021 and has made 30 appearances in all competitions. He started for the first time in more than 2 months in a 2-0 win over West Brom last Saturday and was also in the lineup against Preston on Tuesday night. Kieftenbeld took his chance in the side when George Saville was injured. His pressing led to the second goal against the Baggies, and then he twice went close with long-range efforts against Preston. Saville returned to the matchday squad on Tuesday after injury. Lions boss Gary Rowetts has said he wants to lower the average age of the squad. How will that affect Kieftenbeld, who turns 32 in June, remains to be seen. I don't know what's going to happen, Kieftenbeld said. I know I'm going out of contract, but I think that will be talked about at the end of the season. That's fine for me. My main focus now, especially when I'm back in the team, is to play well and do well for this club. In the first half of the season, I wasn't able to show much of myself, so that's my goal for the second half of the season. I want to do well, and then at the end of the season, we will see what the future will look like. But it's interesting as well, isn't it? So this was like Gary Rowetts' boy. He was at Birmingham with him. I think he signed. Did he sign him for Birmingham? So he's very keen on him. Convinced him to come down to Millwall. And after a year, he's like making him wait on a contract. And as we just mentioned, there's going to be massive changes next season. Even without just letting players go. So getting rid of players you really don't need to be getting rid of. Just because you think there's better things out there, there's better options out there. I don't know. It's all a bit weird, isn't it? I suppose what you want to do is you want to have a first team of 11 players who are clearly and obviously the best players in your team, and then you want some squad players, and then you want some youth players under that, sort of like a depth of squad. And Kieftenbeld seems to be not a first team player, so maybe they're going to try and save some money and invest that money in a first team player who's an obvious and genuine talent in the first team level. But then what will that do to Billy Mitchell? Will Billy Mitchell then get pushed down onto becoming the sub on the bench? Don't know. We'll see. We will see. So there you go. Contracts not being handed out willy-nilly, and all very interesting stuff. So now we got a comment about the referee, Kevin Friend. So Mill boss on Kevin Friend, after demoted to Premier League referee, gave a penalty to Preston. That was a stonewall penalty. I don't think there's anyone complaining about that penalty, to be honest with you. That was an obvious penalty. Gary Rowetts had no problem with Kevin Friend being in charge of Millwall's game against Preston on Tuesday night, and felt the referee made the correct decision on the penalty against his side. Friend, 50, was dropped from the next round of the Premier League games after his handling Crystal Palace's 3-1 defeat to Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Friend awarded a debatable penalty to the visitors after initially giving a goal kick following a collision between Palace goalkeeper Gaeta and Reds forward Jota. Friend then gave a penalty to Liverpool after being advised to review the incident by VAR. Palace boss Patrick Vieira said he was really smart and the referee was naive and the VAR was naive. There's no way he would get the ball back to score. I don't even want to talk about it. A friend was in the thick of the action again at the Den when he awarded a spot kick to Preston after he judged Sean Hutchinson had pulled the shirt of Andrew Hughes as the ball came across from a corner. The Lions got a reprieve when Ben Whiteman's penalty came back off the post and bounced away to safety. Rowetts was asked afterwards if he had any issue with Friend being given a game after his demotion. I've got no problem with that at all. That's not my concern, said Rowetts. It's up to the referees to pick whichever referee they think is suitable for whichever games. He's a Premier League referee. I think everyone makes mistakes. Refereeing a Championship game, in my opinion, is not necessarily any easier than a Premier League game. It's probably a little bit harder because you're not able to go and look at the screen and get people to help you out. I've got no problem with that at all. Whiteman's miss gave Millwall the chance to go on and claim a clean sheet in a 0-0 draw. First time they've registered consecutive shutouts since last October. Rowett added, "We've been critical that we haven't kept enough. Preston have showed under Ryan they're a side that can win games of football. West Brom, as we know, have lots of attacking quality. That's the bit I'm really pleased about. I don't think they were particularly defensive performances. There were lots of chances to break the teams down, lots of opportunities with the ball to try and do that. But I'm pleased the defence have responded. The team have responded. We got a little bit of fortune with a penalty. I think it was a penalty. Hutchie had dragged him down. The only thing I would say is we should have had about 30 penalties this season if they're going to give it for every drag down." Exactly. Jake Cooper has been manhandled every time he's attacking a set piece up front. Matt Smith as well before him, and we don't get penalties like that very rarely. Exactly. So proven quality. Millwall boss on landing. Sheffield United attacking midfielder Luke Freeman. This is from LondonNewsOnline.co.uk. Gary Rowett has described Luke Freeman as a proven Championship player after completing a deadline day swoop for the Sheffield United attacking midfielder. 29-year-old was a club record signing for the Blaze after they won promotion to the Premier League in July 2019. Freeman is due to be a free agent at the start of July. Aha. Now, I did speculate in yesterday's video that this may be a possibility that we would sign him permanently in the summer. Now, if he's a free agent, I think there's very much a real possibility that we will be signing him. So, I think we might be seeing him definitely putting a shift in if he's going to be a free agent in July. Which is Burke hasn't. I think Burke's got at least another year on his contract, so he's got another club to go back to. Luton Town are also working on taking him on loan, but could not match the package put together by Millwall. So we outbid Luton Town for him. Fantastic. He works hard, is creative, and has scored double figures in the Championship, said Lions boss Rowett. When I think of Luke Freeman, I think goals from outside the box, left foot and right foot. He scores spectacular goals. It's about giving him the right type of environment to play his football and rediscover that form. That's the challenge for us and for Luke. You can't deny he's got proven quality and is a top Championship player. Luke was one we looked at in the summer, but at the time Sheffield United still had him in their plans. Aha. So he has been a transfer target in the past. Fantastic. At the end of the window we had a call to say he was available. Freeman has not played a league match since a 61-minute run-out with the Blades in a 2-2 draw against Preston on September 14. It's very difficult for us to sign a top Championship player who's playing regularly. The reality is if they were playing regularly, then we wouldn't be getting him, said Rowett. We have probably now got 6 players in those forward areas who can either start or come on and try and impact matches. That's something I'd felt we missed in recent games. Luke is pretty similar to Ollie Burke, that it might take 4, 5 or 6 matches to get him fully up to speed and show what he can do. So there you go. I think this is pretty much a try before you buy for Luke Freeman on both sides, for us and for him. And that's probably why Maikel Kieftenbeld's not being offered a contract as yet. Because maybe they want to give the money on from his contract to Luke Freeman. So we'll see about that. I can't wait to see how we even though the next game is against Fulham away, I can't wait to see how we all play. It'll be interesting if we carry on playing in the shit dreary defensive style The Garrett's saying we're playing because players are missing. Well, when the players come back, how are we going to be playing then? Still shit? Still defensive? Who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching and